So it pretty much goes without saying, but we are here to celebrate two incredible lives. Jill and David lived life fully. That's something I can tell already, even though I'm the new person in the crowd. We can see that in the slideshow. There's these two incredible programs. I hope you found both of them. There's today's program, and then there's also one that David created for Jill for her memorial that didn't actually happen. And just reading these and talking to Michelle and reading the obituaries, I'm just struck by what full, rich lives these two lived. And they collected all you along the way, and many, many more who are not able to join us today. We are videoing our program, so those of us that couldn't be here can enjoy this. So we want to welcome, on behalf of their family, all of you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of this beautiful celebration. And I want to also say that we come from all different parts of their life, obviously, so we may not know each other, who you're sitting with, but yet we have this one thing in common. When I was thinking about them, I thought, this is like a huge, not only one great big massive tree, like an oak tree or a banyan tree, but it's a whole grove of trees that have been sprouted, and you guys are all part of that grove. The other image that came to me was a beautiful tapestry, and that there's threads that have been woven through, some of you from the very beginning, some of you came from work, some of you from different chapters of their lives. And so we all have that in common, these beautiful two people whose lights were so bright and so creative and so life-filled that they collected all of you. So well done, Jill and David. And clearly, this is meant to be a celebration of their whole lives. I was actually just home. I just got home yesterday. My family's up in Calgary, and there's just my sister and I now and her family. And my father died 20 years ago, my mom about 5 years ago. And we were going through all of their memorabilia, especially the photos. And it's an incredible experience to review and to reflect. And I actually, even though I've seen these photos probably 1,000,000 times, there was one of them when they were children, and then when they got married, and then my brother and sister and I went, and I could viscerally feel those moments as I looked at the photos. So that's what I hope for all of us, that we'll let this be real and alive, and that we can all go back through and walk down memory lane, especially all of you, to reconnect with the precious moments that you've shared with Jill and David, however you're connected to them. The other thing that we obviously have to acknowledge is that they both are complete in their life journey. So this is a celebration also of their passing. Sometimes we don't like to talk about death. It's kind of like the unwelcome guest, but especially here, we say, welcome, death. It's not that scary. Some of us have a really deep faith that death is just a doorway and that life absolutely carries on into maybe a realm much more glorious than this. Certainly that was Jill's faith. Some of us maybe feel like, nope, full stop. We put our contribution all into this life, and I know David felt that way. Be good to people and be creative and have a great time and sing and have a jolly time, and we're out of here. And some of us just don't even know. We don't know what the mystery is that lies. We'll get our turn one day, and then we can all come back and tell each other. So I just want to say we're all welcome. We don't all have to have the same relationship to life or death. And we also grieve very differently and at different stages. So today, if there's tears or great big sobs, please let those come. That's our heart, acknowledging that we've lost these people in our human earth life. And it's natural, and it's actually good for us. And if that's something that you hold more quietly inside of yourself, that's totally fine. So however we grieve, please feel free and trust yourself. Sometimes we get a little shy in public. We have some Kleenex boxes. We can pass those around. If somebody needs a little arm on a shoulder, just be a friend, okay? Okay. Now I get to check my notes. Make sure I covered everything. These two loved life, and they did that through taking care of each other and their children and their families. They had lots of family visits to many of you. They also had music as a huge part of their life, both early and then again later. We're going to hear more about that later. And just a lot of joy, even though you all know there was a lot of hardship and health challenges, and yet such a courage and such a conviction, especially for Jill. It's like, you can't get rid of me that easily. I'm not going anywhere. And so we honor all of that commitment to live life fully and to serve and to make a difference in the world. And so we want to celebrate in joy and laughter. We're going to listen to some music. I'm not sure I have permission to say this, but when I hear music, I sometimes like to sway a little bit or even clap my hands or even get up and dance. So if that's your way, go for it. My mother was a great dancer. She was actually a senior line dancer in her 70s. And whenever we would go out to listen to music, everybody'd be sitting around all politely, and I'd look at her, and she'd look at me, "You going up? You getting up?" It's absolutely. So let's be joyous today. The other thing that I wanted to acknowledge is that it's important for us to find ways to continue to connect with Jill and David, even though they've finished their lives here. So we obviously are going to do that by sharing our memories today. And to also reflect when someone passes. I don't know about you, but for me, it makes me think about my own life. How am I doing? Am I living a full life? Am I going to be complete when I go? So that's a natural part of today. So I want us to just take a quiet moment so that we can have our own personal moment of reflection. If you're comfortable, you're welcome to close your eyes or just stare out at all this beauty here. And we're just going to go inside for a little bit. And first of all, just be as comfortable as you can. We have a lovely warm day here. And be as comfortable in your chair as you can. And maybe just take a nice full breath and let it out with a sigh so you can be really present here. This is a very full, rich celebration and also a tender one. So we want to make room for whatever our experience is. If your mind is a little busy, take a breath in and just let your mind be as calm and settled as it can be. And then another breath or two into our heart space. In the heart, love knows no limit. There's no time, there's no space. And obviously, where two or more are gathered, love is always, always here. And then just turn your thoughts, your reflections to Jill and David. And just take a few moments to just watch what arises in these quiet spaces where everything that you have shared, every moment, every word, every gesture, every event, it's all in there. In our memory, in our feeling, in our body, in our hearts. And wherever you imagine they are now, send them a little high. I happen to believe that a part of them, whether it's just the memory of them or the great, big, beautiful, bright spirits of them, that they're here. And they're so happy that you're here. And they're extending their love and gratitude back to each of you. Thank you. Thank you for being such a rich and meaningful and important part of our lives. We couldn't have done it without you. And thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives to honor us. And in this way, we truly do acknowledge and honor that life is infinite, really. And we are all connected and still connected. And any time you might be missing them, just this, just a quiet moment and opening your heart and calming your mind, and you'll find they're right there. And so for this beautiful ability to connect beyond space and time, beyond life and death, we say thank you, and so it is. Now we're going to listen to a beautiful song.